Okay, so they're not good guys. When it says he brings his father a bad report about them, this is not just Joseph is jealous of his brothers or he's trying to get his brothers in trouble. His brothers are not good guys. Now Israel, so this is Jacob. Remember, Jacob got renamed. So this is Jacob. Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made an ornate robe for him. Okay, now a couple of things here. This is part of the famous part about Joseph. If you know anything about Joseph, you probably know that he had what? A multicolored coat. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess he's just so famous for this because it's a really distinct, vivid line, right? Like Dad loved him so much, he gave him this special coat that looked really cool and nobody else had it. And it made his brothers really jealous. Now, there's a lot of debate about the translation of that. That's why it says an ornate robe here. A colored coat, colored cloak, a multicolored cloak. It can be translated a number of ways. You probably have always wished you knew what it looked like. Well, you might not know it, but actually they make shirts that look exactly like Joseph's coat. And we're going to have these guys come up and model. Come on, let's give them a round of applause. Let's have a little break in the message. Get up here on the live stream for a second. Just jump up here. If you ever wanted to know what Joseph's multicolored coat looked like, now you know. All right, thank you guys. You guys can sit back down, chasing that neon rainbow, living that honky-tonk dream. Okay. Fantastic. So now you know what it looked like. But unlike us, where we're all happy for Adam and Chris that they have these coats, and we don't, we're very happy about that. His brothers were not happy. They got more and more jealous of Joseph. They didn't like him at all. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them. Now, I should say, often we give Jacob kind of a bad rap for this, right? You shouldn't love one of your kids more than the other, should you? No, you shouldn't. If you're a parent, make sure you don't do that. And it is a little bit bad, but you can understand, we don't know exactly what Jacob acted like. We know he gave him this coat, but we don't know exactly what this looked like. And you can understand it, right? The person he loved, his true love was who? It was Rachel. And this is Rachel's son. Rachel's gone. You can empathize with Jacob, why he loves Joseph so much. But his brothers hate him, and they can't speak a kind word to him. And then this crazy thing happens where Joseph has these two dreams, okay? The first one is about sheaves of wheat. This is a painting by Van Gogh, Sheaves of Wheat, 1890. This is what sheaves of wheat are. Big stacks of standing grain. So the grain is at the top, and then it's like a long piece of grass, right? And they're all bundled together. They're cut and bundled together. So here's the first dream that Joseph has. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. Let's just pause there for a second. When you read this dream, you're going to need to ask yourself, why does Joseph tell his brothers the dream? Is he crazy? They already hate him, right? And this is the dream he tells them. Hey, guys, listen to this. I had this dream. And in the dream, all 12 of us, were binding sheaves of grain out in the field. And suddenly my sheaf rose up and it stood straight up. It stood upright, while all of your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. Why in the world would he tell his brothers this dream? Is he totally naive? We debated this in Bible study this morning. Is he totally naive and just doesn't realize they're going to hate him even more? I don't think so. Why does he tell them the dream? Is he messing with them? Is he trying? Sometimes brothers fight with each other, right? And do things to push each other's buttons. Is he trying to get them to be mad at him? I don't think so. He knows his brothers are not to be messed with, actually. He knows some of his brothers have murdered an entire town. I don't think he's just messing with them. Let's see if we can get this bad gang of outlaws to come kill me. No, I don't think so. I think there's another reason. We'll leave it there for now. But he tells them this dream. And what do they think as soon as they hear this? His brothers say to him, do you intend to reign over us? Are you saying you're going to be our ruler? Will you actually rule us? So they hate him even more, right? Now they're really ready to kill him, okay? Because of this dream and what he had said. Now, as if this weren't bad enough, he has another dream that's very similar. And he tells it to his family again. Now you know he can't be naive. It's not because he's naive. He already knows that he told them one dream and they got really mad at him. Here's the second dream. Oh, this is just an image. This is not from the Near East, but it is from the Bronze Age, about the same time as Joseph. This is called the Nebra sky disk. Isn't that thing cool? That thing's super cool. Found in Germany, actually. It shows the sun and the moon and the stars. Here's the dream. Joseph had another dream. And he told it to his brothers because he's out of his mind. He said, listen, I had another dream, guys. Don't you want to hear it? This time, the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. How many brothers does Joseph have? How many brothers does he have? 11. The sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told this to his father and his brothers, he tells dad too this time. And his father rebukes him. His father, who loves him more than all the rest, he's the special child. His father rebukes him. What is this dream you had? Are you crazy? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? You think that's really going to happen? It's a dream. His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Now that's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. Before we move on, let me point out a couple of things. These dreams are not exactly the same. All right? Joseph is paying attention to what's going on. He is paying attention to his dreams. I think it's clear as we go through the rest of the story of his life, Joseph knows that these dreams are from the Lord. These are not just ordinary dreams. He knows they're from God, and he knows that they are showing him something about what God's going to do in his life and about his future, about what's going to happen in the future. There's several things. I think maybe it takes him quite a long time to fully understand how to interpret these dreams, but I think he gets a few things right away. Number one, I think if we go back to this first dream, okay? This first dream, binding sheaves of grain. What happens after you bind those sheaves? Like in the process of grain, right? They're trying to make bread. That's what they're trying to do if you're binding sheaves. So you cut the grain down, you bind it up into these bundles, and then what do you do with it? The next thing you do is thresh it. You take it out and you beat it with a stick until all the grain comes off. And then you winnow it. You throw it up in the air and the chaff blows away. Now, I'm not 100% sure that this is where Joseph's thinking went, but I think he interprets these dreams to mean that he's about to suffer greatly. I think that because of how he acts next and how he acts every time suffering comes into his life. Every time suffering comes into his life, he acts like he already knew it was coming. And it's no surprise to him. It's no surprise to God. I think he sees that not only is he eventually going to save the family in some ways. This one is actually probably not about him ruling. It's about him. What is the grain eventually going to be used to make? Bread, right? Eventually his family is going to be literally starving to death. And he's going to be the one who saves them with grain. We know the end of the story. He doesn't know it yet. But I think this one is mostly about provision. It's about he's going to be the one who provides for them. But his brothers see this and think, oh, no, we're going to kill you. You're just I can't stand you.